how empty space turned out to be full. For centuries, emptiness felt simple. Nothing there, nothing happening. Just absence, waiting to be crossed. But that assumption hit one of the most unsettling truths in physics. Because what we call empty space is not empty at all. It is active, restless, and quietly shaping everything that exists. And once this was understood, the idea of nothingness collapsed. To see why this matters today, we need to return to how space was originally imagined. Space was a container, a passive backdrop where objects moved and forces acted. Remove the objects and nothing remained. This picture felt natural because it matched experience. When a room is cleared, it feels empty. When sound fades, silence remains. Yet experiments began to hint at something wrong. Light behaved strangely in supposed emptiness. Forces acted across space without contact, and particles appeared and vanished where nothing should exist. These were not dramatic violations. They were subtle effects, easy to ignore, but impossible to explain away. The first cracks appeared when scientists studied the vacuum itself. When matter was removed as completely as possible, the results did not settle into stillness. Energy fluctuations remained. Fields persisted. Something was happening where nothing should be. This suggested a disturbing possibility. Empty space was not the absence of everything. It was the presence of something fundamental, a background activity that could not be turned off. Space was not a stage. It was a participant. Once this idea took hold, emptiness stopped being simple. It became one of the most complex and influential features of the universe. And the deeper scientists looked into nothingness, the more they found staring back. At first, these discoveries felt counterintuitive but harmless. Tiny fluctuations, minor anomalies, nothing that threatened the broader picture. But as measurements became more precise, the implications grew impossible to ignore. Empty space was not calm. It was energetic. Even in a perfect vacuum, energy never dropped to zero. Fields vibrated. Virtual particles appeared briefly, then vanished, not as errors, but as consequences of deeper rules. The universe refused to allow true stillness, even in nothingness. This created a conflict with intuition. If space was full of activity, why didn't we feel it? Why didn't it glow, push, or resist motion? The answer was scale. These effects were subtle, operating beneath direct perception. Yet their influence was real. They shaped how particles behaved. They altered forces. They set the baseline of reality itself. As understanding grew, space stopped being neutral. It gained structure, properties, tension. The vacuum became something that could be stretched, distorted, and energized. Empty space could store energy. It could transmit influence. It could even affect the expansion of the universe. This realization reframed long-standing mysteries. Why forces had the strengths they did. Why particles had mass. Why the universe did not collapse or tear itself apart. The answers were not always complete, but they pointed in the same direction. Nothingness was doing a lot of work. What once seemed like a philosophical curiosity became a physical reality. Space was no longer defined by what it lacked, but by what it contained. And that content was unavoidable, woven into existence itself. The conflict deepened when scientists realized that this restless emptiness was not just a background effect. It actively influenced the fate of the universe. The energy of empty space exerted pressure, not inward, but outward. A subtle push that accumulated across vast distances. This was deeply unsettling, because if empty space carried energy, then increasing space meant increasing energy. Expansion did not dilute it. It amplified it. The universe was not just growing larger. It was being driven apart by the very fabric of nothingness. This discovery collided with expectations. Gravity should slow expansion. Matter should pull inward. Over time, everything should decelerate. But observations showed the opposite. Distant galaxies were racing away faster and faster. Something was overpowering gravity itself. The only explanation that fit was empty space. The vacuum was not passive. It was dynamic, exerting influence without particles, without matter, without contact. The universe was accelerating because nothingness was pushing it. This turned emptiness into one of the most powerful forces known, not because it was intense in one place, but because it was everywhere, spread uniformly across the cosmos. Its cumulative effect dominated everything else. At this point, the idea of empty space collapsed entirely. Nothingness was no longer a gap between things. It was a field of tension shaping cosmic history. The universe was not expanding into emptiness. It was expanding because of it. The build-up toward this realization forced a final question. If empty space has energy, then what defines nothing at all? And if even the vacuum is active, is true emptiness even possible? The climax of this story is a reversal that still feels unsettling. The most powerful driver of the universe may be nothing at all, not matter, not light, but the energy of empty space itself. Once this idea took hold, the universe looked different. Expansion was no longer a mystery of motion. It was a consequence of the vacuum. Space was not stretching into darkness. Darkness was pushing space apart. The absence of matter became an active force shaping cosmic destiny. This understanding reframed humanity's place in the cosmos. Everything we see, every star and galaxy, is riding on a background we cannot touch or turn off. Empty space defines the limits of existence, sets the pace of expansion, and determines the long-term fate of reality itself. Yet this realization is not just cosmic, it is deeply philosophical. It tells us that absence can be influential, that what we cannot see may matter more than what we can, and that intuition, once again, fails at the deepest level. Today, this insight guides modern cosmology. It shapes predictions about the universe's future. It influences theories about its beginning, and it reminds us that reality does not need substance to have power. Empty space turned out to be full, not with things, but with influence. And the more we learn about nothingness, the clearer it becomes. The universe is never truly empty. Subscribe to join the journey.